Spoilers ahead. Watch out, and take care. The movie begins with Max, a junior lawyer, on his way to a restaurant. He is accompanied by a lady. Before his meeting at a cafe with his team, Max receives a video call from his wife, Sue, and their daughter, Nancy. They express how much they miss him, due to his month-long busy work schedule. Inside, where he is about to have his meeting, another group led by Ellis is also gathered for their discussion. As his meeting progresses, he notices his younger brother Jerry, engaged in what appears to be an important discussion. As he greets Jerry, his younger brother seems to be distancing himself, avoiding acknowledgement of their relationship. This surprises him, as Jerry has often visited him at his apartment in the past. Jerry requests that he not disturb him any further, leaving him puzzled about his brother's unusual behavior. In the following events, Jerry lies to his group, claiming that he doesn't know Max very well, mentioning only that Max gave him his business card some time ago. Roxy, a member of Ellis's group, approaches Max and asks for his business card, expressing potential future legal needs. On the same night, Max is occupied with work and unable to go back home. He stays in the office to complete his tasks. His wife, Sue, understands the challenges he faces due to his demanding workload. While he is still at the office, trying to meet his deadlines, Sue hears the doorbell ring. It's Jerry at the door. Initially delighted to see him, she and her daughter Nancy are shocked to discover that Jerry is covered in wounds. Out of nowhere, a stranger appears, and tragically shoots Jerry right in front of them. The next morning, Max, in the midst of a client meeting, receives devastating news from Detective Santiago and his team about Jerry's death, Sue's murder, and Nancy's disappearance. Overwhelmed with grief and panic, he interrupts his meeting and follows Santiago to the police station, seeking more information about his shattered family. At the police station, he faces intense questioning from the authorities, wearing an expression of profound sadness and anger, due to the unbearable loss. The culprits behind these horrific crimes have not yet been identified, adding to his torment. Santiago, empathizing with his dire situation, meets with the junior lawyer, and pledges to help him find those responsible for the murders and Nancy's abduction. On another occasion, Max is escorted back to his apartment by a female detective named Fargus. As he enters his home, he is confronted with a scene of chaos and blood stains. He is unable to contain his tears when he comes across a drawing made by Nancy. Suddenly, a man named Dio, one of the killers, emerges and attempts to silence Max, demanding his silence. After a tense struggle, Max manages to break free from Dio's grip, setting the stage for a gripping and intense pursuit of justice. In a surprising twist, Dio reveals that he had no intention of harming Max. Instead, he discloses that Jerry, Max's younger brother, was an aspiring police officer, who had been killed while infiltrating a criminal gang deal. Dio hands Max a key to Jerry's secret warehouse, where crucial information about Ellis, the mastermind behind the family's murder, can be found. Shocked by this revelation, Max rushes out of the apartment through the back door, heading towards Jerry's secret warehouse. Detective Vargas, growing suspicious when Max didn't leave the apartment, decides to follow him. Upon arriving at Max's apartment, Vargas doesn't find Max, but encounters Dio instead. In an attempt to prevent his escape, she shoots him. However, Dio, injured but determined, detonates a grenade he had prepared earlier, causing a devastating explosion that destroys the apartment, and claims the lives of both. Meanwhile, Max successfully locates Jerry's clandestine warehouse, nestled near the harbor. As he stealthily makes his way inside, the shocking revelation of Jerry's infiltration in a sinister human organ trafficking syndicate, led by the notorious Ellis, unfolds before him. Max is taken aback by the array of items that link to this criminal network. The discovery of evidence detailing Jerry's embezzlement of funds from organ sales intensifies his resolve for revenge against Ellis, the man responsible for tearing his family apart. With a burning desire for justice, he decides to take matters into his own hands. Driven by a potent cocktail of anger and the anguish of losing his loved ones, he embarks on a mission for revenge. In a makeshift workshop within the warehouse, he skillfully crafts a set of throwing knives, envisioning them as instruments of retribution against Ellis and his malevolent syndicate. The night marks the commencement of his relentless pursuit of justice. Elsewhere, Ellis and his gang convene a secret meeting, where he coldly instructs his henchmen to disperse and abduct more innocent children for organ harvesting. Despite already having Max's daughter in their clutches, Ellis remains unrelenting in his pursuit of additional organs to sell on the black market. In a fit of frustration over the hidden funds, Ellis, a man accustomed to brutality, takes out his anger by subjecting a captive to a torturous death. His henchmen, desensitized to such gruesome displays, stand by without intervening, further cementing the atmosphere of fear and ruthlessness in the criminal organization. As the meeting concludes, Ellis and his crew prepare to depart, unaware that Max, armed with his carefully crafted throwing knives, lurks in the shadows, ready to unleash his quest for justice. However, as Ellis and his crew make their way to the parking lot, one of the henchmen, Mike, discovers a flat tire on his motorcycle. Unknown to them, Max had secretly sabotaged the vehicle. Seizing the opportunity, Ellis offers Mike a ride home, while instructing another henchman, Tommy, to take the disabled motorcycle to a repair shop. Tommy, dutifully following orders, stops to relieve himself in the middle of the road. Little does he know that Max, driving a car, has been waiting. With precision, he ambushes Tommy with a throwing knife, incapacitating him. Next day, Max also targets another henchman, swiftly ending his life. Ellis meanwhile grows increasingly frustrated over the elusive funds that Jerry had hidden. With no leads to follow, tensions within the criminal organization escalate. Shortly after, some of the henchmen bring in a man named Rye, who willingly seeks a meeting with Ellis, enticed by the promise of quick money. Brimming with confidence and displaying arrogance, putting his feet up on the table, Rye unknowingly irks Ellis. Frustrated by his behavior, Ellis seizes a cleaning cloth and a piece of plastic, spreading them out in front of Rye. Meanwhile, Roxy retrieves a sharp object from a box brought in. In a cold and calculated move, she uses the weapon to end Rye's life. Following the demise, his body is laid on the plastic, and Ellis's henchmen immediately prepare to harvest his organs. Another day, Max finds himself beside a car driven by one of Ellis's henchmen, Juan. Frustration wells up within Juan as Max deliberately drives slowly in front of him, setting the stage for an impending clash. After enduring several impatient horn honks, Max finally brings his car to a halt on a quiet street. Irritated and fueled by frustration, Max maneuvers his vehicle beside Juan's. Through the car window, he launches an attack on Juan, indifferent to the pedestrians who witness the ruthless act. Ensuring his target's demise, he callously strikes Juan and confiscates his phone. The next day, Max returns to Jerry's warehouse to store Juan's car, and exploit the information on Juan's phone to track Ellis's location. Setting up a trap within the warehouse for Ellis's henchmen, who are searching for Juan, Max embarks alone to confront Ellis at his headquarters. Pointing a gun at Ellis, he demands information. However, Ellis, refusing to cooperate, orders his henchman, Junior, to launch a surprise attack on him from behind. Junior's assault leaves Max unconscious and bound. Upon regaining consciousness, Max finds himself tied up, with Junior heating a wire to torture him. To his horror, Junior reveals his dark connection with Sue before her demise. Max endures the pain and anger, unable to move his constrained body. Shortly after, Ellis and his right-hand man, Big John, arrive to halt Junior's torture. Despite Ellis wanting Max alive for information about the hidden money, Junior's actions hint at a deeper animosity within the criminal organization. Gathering vital information, Ellis swiftly departs with Big John and Roxy, heading for Jerry's warehouse. Meanwhile, Junior receives orders to guard the headquarters, preventing Max from escaping. In a surprising turn of events, Santiago emerges, who had been lurking nearby, pointing a gun at Junior's head. Taking control, he brings Junior into the room where Max is held captive. Max, now free, makes Santiago faint, to prevent interference with his plan to confront Junior. Simultaneously, Big John and Roxy are at Jerry's warehouse, searching for the hidden money. Eventually, Big John discovers the cash hidden within a box, appearing delighted by the find. However, Roxy begins to suspect something is amiss, when she notices the money connected to a long wire linked to a grenade. Before she could utter a warning, Big John pulls the bag, triggering a catastrophic explosion within the warehouse. Meanwhile, Ellis, waiting in the car, is taken aback, as Jerry's warehouse suddenly erupted in flames. Max's meticulously executed plan has successfully eliminated Ellis's top two henchmen. Back at the headquarters, Santiago, now conscious, finds himself inside a car. Junior appears lifeless, tied to a chair with his abdomen exposed. Upon discovering this, Ellis begins to panic, realizing he had underestimated Max. Max, intentionally luring Ellis to an old factory, intensifies the confrontation as Ellis arrives. Armed and ready to confront the boss of a dangerous gang, Max is about to act, when Santiago intervenes. Santiago urges him to trust the authorities to investigate his family's murder, instead of pursuing revenge. Despite Santiago's plea, he remains resolute in his desire for revenge. Santiago, bringing up Max's past as a former Marine, and his decision to become a lawyer due to witnessing injustices, particularly the cover-up of his mother's abuse by her commanding officer, tries to convince him to reconsider. Max falls silent, carefully considering Santiago's words. The detective, initially wanting to apprehend Ellis, suddenly changes his mind, understands Max's pain, and decides not to handcuff Ellis. He leaves, allowing Max to go after the criminal boss. Without hesitation, Max attacks Ellis, who claims Nancy had been killed after her organs were taken and sold to different countries. Initially Ellis resists, but Max eventually overpowers him, satisfying his thirst for revenge. He picks up a spiked baseball bat and uses it to fatally beat Ellis. A few days later, news about Ellis's body being found in a factory spread to various news outlets. Even the chief of police is aware of it. Santiago, wanting to help Max cover up what he has done, suggests that he leave the country for a while. Santiago returns to his hometown in Mexico, to spend time with his family. However, he receives a sudden message from Max, who has become a hitman seeking justice. Max asks for information about the criminals he wants to take down, and Santiago, excited to help, provides the names of the criminals still on the run, and where to find them. The end. Thank you for watching. Subscribe if you'd like to see more videos like this. Turn on the notifications, and leave a like to help the channel out.